listening to the European Parliamentary Research Service podcast on the future of the European Regional Development Fund and the Cohesion Fund.
More flexibility and simplification in exchange for higher national co-financing rates.
That's how the Commission justifies the proposed cuts in cohesion policy for the next long-term EU budget for 2021 to 2027. Want to know more about how this may affect you and your region? Stay with us.
Since the current multi-annual financial framework was first developed, the world has changed significantly. New challenges such as migration, a slow economic recovery, growing inequalities and Brexit have all shown the need for the next long-term EU budget to build in more flexibility.
As the Commission puts it, we just have to do more with less, an imperative which has forced a general rethinking of where to best invest EU money.
As the EU's main investment policy and one of its most concrete expressions of solidarity, the EU's cohesion policy has clearly been affected by this refocusing.
The EU's cohesion policy aims to strengthen economic, social and territorial cohesion by reducing regional disparities, with particular attention paid to the least favoured regions and special territories.
To do so, it counts on three different funds: the European Regional Development Fund, the Cohesion Fund and the European Social Fund. Together, they eat up almost a third of the total EU budget.
But with less cash available in the future, the Commission was forced to come up with a proposal for a modernised cohesion policy and a more tailored approach to regional development.
So what will change in the future? Let's have a look.
The proposed new single regulation on the European Regional Development Fund and the Cohesion Fund, previously covered by two separate regulations, introduces greater simplification and flexibility in the use of the funds while reducing the priorities it focuses on.
Having looked at the impact of past and current projects, the Commission decided to focus on activities with the highest added value, such as support for SMEs, smart specialisation, the low-carbon economy, sustainable urban development and regional cooperation.
So in the future, the European Regional Development Fund will focus mainly on smart growth and the green economy, and the Cohesion Fund on environmental and transport infrastructure, delivering on the Paris Agreement and helping the EU meet its climate objectives.
The Commission has also proposed to add to the list of activities excluded from the scope of cohesion policy: support for the landfill and treatment of residual waste, fossil fuels, as well as broadband infrastructure and rolling stock for rail transport in many situations.
According to the Commission's proposal, cohesion policy will continue investing in all regions, including in richer member states, to help them achieve industrial transition, fight unemployment and stay competitive in a globalised economy.
It will keep three categories of regions: the less developed, regions in transition and the more developed ones. But how will funds be allocated? Stay with us.
Well, to reduce disparities and help low-income and low-growth regions catch up, GDP per capita will remain the predominant criterion for allocating funds, but new criteria that better reflect the reality on the ground will be added, such as youth unemployment, low education levels, climate change, and the reception and integration of migrants.
Local, urban and regional authorities will be more involved in the management of the funds, while increased national co-financing rates are expected to improve ownership of EU-funded projects in regions and cities.
The modernised cohesion policy should also be based on fewer, clearer, shorter rules and a more flexible framework. How?
Well, first of all, by simplifying access to funds, cutting red tape and setting lighter control procedures for businesses and entrepreneurs using these funds.
To make life easier for programme managers, the Commission also wants a single rulebook. This is expected to facilitate synergies, for example, between cohesion policy funds and the Asylum Migration Fund when it comes to the development of local integration strategies for migrants.
The Commission also wants to strengthen the link between cohesion policy and the European semester to create a growth and business-friendly environment in Europe so that both EU and national investments can deliver their full potential.
To give Member States more capacity to react to changes and unforeseen events, the new framework offers the possibility to shift up to 5% of the funds for different policy priorities just by informing the Commission, and to plan project implementation for the first 5 years only, leaving the rest until after the midterm review.
So how did the European Parliament react to this proposal? We'll tell you shortly.
In 2017, when presenting its views on the future of cohesion policy beyond 2020, the Parliament underlined the importance of investing in SMEs, the digital agenda, low-carbon economy, climate change, green economy and renewable energy, as well as social inclusion, education, training and culture.
The Parliament also stressed the need for better synergies with other Union funds and programmes, and in March 2018, when preparing its position on the next EU budget framework, MEPs made it clear that cohesion policy should continue to cover all EU regions while obviously helping the most vulnerable areas first.
In the view of the Parliament, cohesion policy should not only aim at reducing regional disparities, but also contribute to achieving the EU's broad political objectives.
The Council wants to increase the visibility of cohesion policy to raise awareness of the positive impact that the EU can have on the everyday life of EU citizens. It also wants to increase synergies with other EU funds and improve performance indicators.
Regional policy stakeholders grouped in the Cohesion Alliance have welcomed the fact that the new cohesion policy will continue to cover all EU regions and in particular the investments in education, research, youth and migration. However, they're concerned about the planned budget cuts and the risks of centralisation of investment, a concern equally shared by MEPs.
Political negotiations have started, but Commissioner Crețu has already warned that unless procedures are in place by 1st of January 2021, thousands of programmes could be in danger.
You're listening to the European Parliamentary Research Service podcasts.